Welcome to My Life in Israel podcast, where I speak the truth with people about finding a solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict while combating anti-Semitism, anti-Israel, and anti-Zionist propaganda, and rant about Israeli politics and life in Israel. I also throw in some Judaism to spice things up. All right, you know how the pro-Palestinian Muslims say that they don't have a problem with Jews, they just have a problem with Zionists. Well, here's how you can prove that they're wrong and prove that this is really about Islam and anti-Semitism. Because all you have to say or ask them is, okay, so you shouldn't have a problem with the religious Jews being in charge of the state of Israel and living under Torah law. And then watch their reactions, because they will give every excuse under the sun to say, no, that's still not okay. They will say that Judaism is a religion. It has nothing to do with land, which if you've read the Torah, you absolutely know that's ridiculous. And then they'll say the main claim will be that the Jews had the chance to be in the land. They were expelled. God expelled them, but then God had mercy on them, brought them back once. And then Jews broke the covenant with God again, and God expelled them again. And now God will not let them come back in, because they broke the covenant more than once, and now game over. Now it's Islam. Now Islam and the Muslims are the chosen ones, and they are the ones who are rightly entitled to the land. Although in the Quran, it says nothing about that at all. This is just something that they have made up to not allow Jews to come back into the land, because in the Quran, there actually is nothing stating that the Jews come back into the land. And this is also why they give the excuse that the Jewish temple never existed, even though blatantly that's not correct. And you could prove that by Muhammad's night journey and where he went to the Al-Aqsa Mosque and what direction he prayed in Jerusalem. And so this is just blatant gaslighting and denial of actual Jewish history and any connection to the Jews, not the Zionists, to the land. And they want to say, well, we didn't have a problem with the Jews when we were under Ottoman control, that we lived peacefully with Jews all these times. Well, which is partly true. You could say that that's partly true. In some areas, there was peace, but in other areas, there wasn't. And so what they really want is just to go back to having Jews live under them, under Dimitude, and then they're happy to live with the Jews. And that is goes with their Islamic belief that they are the supreme religion. And so this is why they say that. It also has to do with religion. And so they gaslight you, and then they try to portray it as, well, it's just the Zionists because we were living peacefully with Jews. When the reality is, as long as the Jews have no self-determination and are able to rule over themselves in their own land, we have no problem with Jews. So this is why I keep telling people you have to focus the discussion and go back to Islam and religion. And you people don't want to talk about it. And maybe because you're not learned enough in it, but I'm telling you, this is why the Muslims and the pro-Palestinians don't want to talk about religion. Because they know this is what this is really all about. And they can hide under this guise of just being against the Zionists. And yet, if it was just about the Zionists, who they claim are secular and don't believe in God, then they should be for the religious Jews that are in the land. And yet, it's the religious Jews that are the settlers in Judea and Samaria that they also don't want in the land, because they don't want to give up Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Temple Mount. This is what this is all about, people. All these arguments about the politics and this is just going in circles. Nobody is getting anywhere, and I'm just tired of it. We need to change the focus on Al-Aqsa, and then you will see where the true intentions lie. All right, for all you Muslims out there who seem to think that the Jews don't have the right to come back into the land because they broke the covenant with God, and so therefore God broke his covenant with them, I'm going to show you in the Tanakh and in the Torah where it says that God's covenant with his people is eternal, forever, everlasting, and that the Jewish people can break their covenant with God time and time and time again. And as long as they come back to God and obeying his commandments, God will have mercy on them and bring them back into the land, and for them to obey Torah and to have God as their God. And so what this also shows is that the religious Jews should be the first people to come back into the land, because they are the ones who have come back to God and obeying the Torah. And God has said that's what allows you to come back into the land. So it shows that the religious Jews, by thinking they have to wait for the Mashiach, and they don't believe the Mashiach has come, and their idea of the Mashiach is something that's not really found in Torah or in the history of the Jewish nation, they're going against God and they're going against the Torah. They should be in the land. They're the first people that should be in the land. So this is what I want to point out, both to the Muslims and to the religious Jewish people. The Muslims want to tokenize these anti-Zionist Jews by saying that, they're the real Jews because they're waiting for the Mashiach, and they say we're not supposed to be in the back of the land. When it clearly says in the Torah, all you need is to go back to following God's commandments, and He will bring you back into the land. So, you religious Jews out there, you anti-Zionist Jews out there are going against God. And I'm not afraid to say it. Come back into the land where you belong and obey Torah the way you're supposed to obey Torah. Genesis chapter 17. I will ratify my covenant between me and you and between your offspring after you throughout your generations as an everlasting covenant to be a God to you and to your offspring after you. And I will give to you and to your offspring after you the land of your sojourns, the whole of the land of Canaan, as an everlasting possession, and I shall be a God to them. My covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. An uncircumcised male who will not circumcise the flesh of his foreskin, that soul shall be cut off from its people. He has invalidated my covenant. And I will fulfill my covenant with him, Isaac, as an everlasting covenant for his offspring after him. From the book of Psalms, Psalms 105. O seed of Abraham, his servant, O children of Jacob, his chosen ones. He is the Lord Jehovah, our God. Over all the earth are his judgments. He remembered his covenant forever, the word he commanded for 1,000 generations, that he made with Abraham and his vow to Isaac. Then he established it for Jacob as a statute, for Israel as an everlasting covenant, saying, to you I shall give the land of Canaan, the lot of your inheritance. Psalm 89. I too will make him a firstborn, meaning David, supreme over the earth's kings. Forever shall I preserve my kindness for him, and my covenant shall remain true to him. And I shall establish his seed eternally, and his throne like the days of the heavens. If his sons should forsake my law and not walk in my judgments, if they should profane my statutes and not observe my commandments, then I will punish their transgression with a rod and their iniquity with plagues. But I shall not utterly remove my kindness from him, and I will be not false to my faithfulness. I shall not profane my covenant, and I shall not alter the utterance of my lips. One thing have I sworn by my holiness, that I would not be deceitful to David. His seed will endure forever, and his throne shall be like the sun before me. Like the moon, it shall be established forever, a faithful witness in the sky. Selah. Deuteronomy chapter 4, when he's talking about the blessings and the curses. From there you will seek the Lord Jehovah your God, and you will find him, if you search for him with all your heart and all your soul. When you are in distress, and all these things have befallen you, meaning the curses, at the end of days you will return unto the Lord Jehovah your God, and hearken to his voice. For the Lord Jehovah your God is a merciful God. He will not abandon you, nor destroy you, and he will not forget the covenant of your forefathers that he swore to them. Deuteronomy chapter 30. It will be that when all these things come upon you, the blessing and the curse that I have presented before you, then you will take it to your heart among all the nations where the Lord Jehovah your God has dispersed you. And you will return unto the Lord Jehovah your God, and listen to his voice, according to everything that I command you today, you and your children, with all your heart and all your soul. Then the Lord Jehovah your God will bring back your captivity and have mercy upon you, and he will gather you in from all the peoples to which the Lord Jehovah your God has scattered you. If your dispersed will be at the ends of heaven, from there the Lord Jehovah your God will gather you in, and from there he will take you. The Lord Jehovah your God will bring you to the land that your forefathers possessed, and you shall possess it. He will do good to you and make you more numerous than your forefathers. The Lord Jehovah your God will circumcise your heart and the heart of your offspring to love the Lord Jehovah your God with all your heart and with all your soul, that you may live. The Lord Jehovah your God will place all these imprecations upon your enemies and those who hate you, who pursued you. You shall return and listen to the voice of the Lord Jehovah and perform all his commandments that I command you today. The Lord Jehovah will make you abundant in all your handiwork, in the fruit of your womb, the fruit of your animals, and the fruit of your land, for good, when the Lord Jehovah will return to rejoice over you for good, as he rejoiced over your forefathers. When you listen to the voice of the Lord Jehovah, your God, to observe his commandments and his decrees that are written in his book of the Torah, when you shall return to the Lord Jehovah your God with all your heart and with all your soul. So what does the Quran say about the Jews' right to be in this land. Let's take a look. Chapter 5, verse 21 says, O my people, meaning this is Moses speaking, enter the holy land which Allah has destined for you to enter, and do not turn back or else you will become losers. So this is what a lot of people, even some Muslims, want to point to confirm that Allah did indeed give this land to the Jews. But now, the Muslim mainstream narrative is, oh no, that was before the Jews broke the covenant with God, not only once, but twice. And now they are not entitled to be in the land. So, but actually the Quran actually talks about the Jews being expelled from the land in chapter 17. So let's look at those verses.
Chapter 17, verse 4. And we warn the children of Israel in the scripture, you will certainly cause corruption in the land twice, and you will become extremely arrogant. When the first of the two warnings would come to pass, we would send against you some of our servants of great might who would ravage your homes. This would be a warning fulfilled. Then, after your repentance, we will give you the upper hand over them and aid you with wealth and offspring, causing you to outnumber them. If you act rightly, it is for your own good, but if you do wrong, it is to your own loss. And when the second warning would come to pass, your enemies would be left to totally disgrace you and enter that place of worship as they entered it the first time, and utterly destroy whatever would fall into their hands. Perhaps your Lord will have mercy on you if you repent, but if you return to sin, we will return to punishment, and we have made hell a permanent confinement for the disbelievers.
Okay, so this is where it's talking about that the Jews will be expelled twice from the land. And so during Muhammad's time, this was during the second time that the Jews had been expelled. So, but the verses are very ambiguous. It doesn't specifically say that the Jews will come back into the land. It says, if God will have mercy on you, perhaps he will have mercy on you and forgive you. But then it stops short of actually saying that he will allow you back into the land. So it's because of this ambiguity that is the source of all the confusion and the source of Muslims continually wanting to say that the Jews don't have the right to enter this land. Now, I want to say that the reality is proving that God has had mercy on the Jews and is allowing them back into the land. We can debate what caused him to have mercy on them, whether it was the Holocaust or the pogroms, all the anti-Semitism leading up to this. That I don't have really the answer to that. But it seems to me that the reality seems to show that Allah has given the Jews mercy and is now favoring them to come back into the land. And so this leads to, again, this whole idea of ambiguity. In the first chapter, in chapter 5, when it's saying, dwell in the land, it's saying basically until the end times and into Judgment Day, that the Jews will be there until Judgment Day. Okay, and so this leads into all the confusion with Islamic eschatology and times prophecy, that Muslims think that the Jews aren't supposed to be into the land until the end times. And since some people want to say that's not the end times, so they shouldn't be here. And then there's the other side where the Islamic extremists, the jihadists, want to help bring in that end times by fighting against the Jews so that the end times will come. But that's really a confusion of what the Quran and the Hadith say also, which I'm going to get into that into another video. I need to make this video about end times eschatology, Islam versus Judaism. So it'll start to all make sense. So stay tuned.
Thanks for listening to My Life in Israel podcast. Follow me on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for non-podcast videos. If you enjoyed the podcast, like, share, comment, and follow me on Spotify and other podcast apps so you never miss another episode. Support my work and support Israel by making a one-time or monthly donation or become a subscriber to get access to exclusive content. The links are in my profile and description. And stay tuned because I have a lot more to say. Am Israel High.